Hello, once again. My name is Ruby Sel. Welcome to this exciting journey of self discovery and personal growth with this session of Pearls of Wisdom. Pearls of Wisdom is basically a program that where I deliberately present to you valuable information like pearls, a little bit of a time, instead of overwhelming you with a metaphorical treasure chest. Instead of overwhelming you with a lot of information, I try to give you just a little piece of information that could be very, very useful to you in your life. Now, consistency is key, so I'm trying to deliver these pearls of wisdom regularly. And of course, I would expect you to connect regularly to receive them. My goal is to foster positive momentum in your life, providing you with tools to manifest a better, more fulfilling existence. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom, where the journey to a more enriched life begins now. Today, I'm going to talk about habits and why is it important to understand habits and even change them if at all possible. See, and to do that, we have to talk about the mind because everything begins in the mind. We have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is where the ideas, is where the imagination lies, is where you can be creative, is where you can make your decisions. However, the subconscious mind, that's where your habits are stored. And habits are basically ideas that or beliefs that have been repeated over and over and over, so they become truth in your subconscious mind, and they control pretty much everything that we do. We are, in fact, and I heard this expression before and I wasn't quite sure what that meant. We are creatures of habits. But what that really means is that our habits control everything that we do. Everything. From the moment we wake up in the morning, your morning routine, you go to the bathroom, you change, you brush your teeth, everything you do in the morning, every routine you have in the morning is controlled by habitual patterns, your habits. They do everything for you. And that's why it's so important to understand habits and um, and how this works. Now, the conscious mind is a part that can think and they can choose. The subconscious mind is the part that basically controls everything from behind the scenes. So we need to have an opportunity to work them together, conscious and subconscious, to make whatever changes we want to do. And what kind of changes we want to do? Well, if everything is controlled by our subconscious mind, by our habits, by our paradigms, you'll hear that word here and there. And paradigms are nothing but a number of habits, really, that control what we do. And almost everything we do in our day is habitual pattern, is controlled by habits. But the subconscious mind have the power to create. But until you can bring that into your subconscious mind, until you can get involved emotionally with your ideas or your thoughts, then they go into your subconscious mind and they create habits. So we need them to work together. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, we need to understand how this works because when we want to make a change in our lives, when we want to do better, when we want to grow and develop into something different, or when we want to better our lives or make a difference in our lives or others, we really need the cooperation of the conscious and subconscious. But more than importantly, we need to understand how habits work. Okay, and this is something that part of it is, for example, you cannot force your subconscious mind to change anything. You need to find a way to persuade your subconscious mind, and that happens through repetition. Everything we have learned in our lives, we learn through repetition. So we must convince ourselves through repetition that something that we want is good, is what we truly want, and we need to repeat it and repeat it until the subconscious mind understands that you're getting emotionally involved with it, and accepts it. Okay. So the only other way to make a change in our lives would be to have a very strong emotional impact experience, and that could change our beliefs. And that's not always a positive thing, though. So keep that in mind. So to explain how this works, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about an idea, an example of how this works. Um, I learned to tie my shoelaces when I was very young. So obviously that means that for over 50 years, I have tied my shoelaces in a very particular way because that's how I learned it. And what does shoelaces have anything to do with this? I'll get to that in a minute. So the way you learned to tie your shoelaces, you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it until you got it right. That became a truth to you, a belief on how things must happen. And you've been doing this for your entire life. What happens when you try to change that? So on this example, I found a video where it taught a different way of tying shoelaces. And I thought, why not? I can learn something new. So I paid attention to the video and I tried to learn to tie my shoelaces in a different way. And I was very surprised to find out it's not that easy. It seems to be very simple, not that easy. And as I share this information and this experience with others, they too go through the same experience. Why would it be so difficult for you to learn something new? That's because in your subconscious mind, you're trying to force something that it shouldn't be there. You already know how to tie your shoelaces. Why do you want to change that? So you need to find a way to persuade yourself that what you're trying to do is good. It's good for you. It's good for your learning. And what that also does is when you try to learn something new, it takes you outside of your comfort zone. That's where you grow. So I started to learn a new way to tie my shoelaces, and I realized how difficult that was, and I had to repeat it over and over and over until I finally got it right. And once I got it right, every day that I was trying to tie my shoelaces, I realized that I was trying to go back to the old ways. Why? Because that's the habitual pattern in me. That's the belief in me. So it took concentration and focus every day to repeat a new routine until it was accepted in the subconscious mind. And suddenly I was able to tie my shoelaces in a new way. And I continued to do that for a couple of weeks. And after a couple of weeks, I realized that when I tried to think about going back to the old way, I had trouble remembering how I had tied my shoelaces for over 50 years. What does that mean? A new habit was formed and it replaced the old habit. So this got me thinking, if you can change a habit, any kind of habit, okay? But if you can change a habit, and it takes repetition, yes, I know, it takes focus, it takes effort. But once you do that and it sticks, you are a new person. You have changed something. You will hear that expression later on. That's called shifting the paradigm. And I know I'm using a very simple example with shoelaces, but that's just to get you to understand that you can change any habit, any idea, any belief in you, especially we're talking about limiting beliefs. We can be talking about our relationships. We talking about money. We're talking about perspective of how you view the world. So anything that you want to better in you, anything you want to attract better to you, you may need to change a habit or a belief. And yes, it can be done. And that's just something that I wanted to share with you. This is very important because if you want to change anything, if you're not happy about something, all you have to do is look at your results. And when you look at your results, that's when you notice that if you're not getting what you want, something has to change. When a habit changes, the paradigm shifts and the results change. So when we do something new, when we change a belief, when we change a habit, when we change a way of thinking, that changes our vibrational frequency, our energy, and that will attract to you new things. Okay? The new way of doing things replaces the old way of doing things. A new habit replaces the old habit. That is how you change thoughts, habits, actions, and ultimately your results. So make a decision. Get started. Changing habits could be as simple as learning how to tie your shoelaces all over again. Maybe simple, probably not very easy. Okay. So we come to the conclusion of today's information. I would like to thank you once again. I trust the information I provided will set you on a journey of personal growth and development. Again, my name is Rubicel. Wishing everyone on the call the very best. And hopefully I'll see you next time.